it's been a long time coming, but it's finally time to head back to racing for the Full Send Sims SMX Series, season number 2 of 2025. We're so excited to be back, this time with a longer, bigger, and better season, visiting all sorts of tracks across the calendar, including the Chicago Street Course, Circuit of the Americas, and other venues that have never been on this calendar before. 2 20-minute races each week for the next 15 or so weeks. Kyle Heyer joined by Finian DeCuna, and we've got Greg Creamer hanging out. We'll hope to have him back here in the booth full-time with us in a couple more weeks. But Finian, welcome aboard. Glad to have you back on here for the first round of the season, this time at one of the fiercest racetracks in North America, the high-speed Cup Circuit at Watkins Glen.
Yeah, I'm glad to be back with this series. It's such a phenomenal group of drivers, and especially at the beginning of the season like this, a huge field getting ready to go at a fantastic racing facility, like you mentioned, especially the Cup Circuit, too. It feels like a super speedway flying around here. The slipstream is going to be absolutely critical for these drivers to perform here tonight.
Yeah, really excited. And Greg, of course, so we'll have you hopefully back sooner rather than later. It's been a long time since you've been home, but really glad to have you on here, at least for the first couple minutes, and kind of preview our season. It's huge. It's 15 weeks long. We visit basically every track in North America. This is going to be a fantastic season of racing.
The word epic it might just really fit with this. It is going to be special. Obviously, everybody now has a good season of SMX competition under their belts, know the little nuances of these cars, how to extract absolutely everything out of it. And the racing we saw in the first season was special. This, I think, as you said, is going to be amazing. And what a great place to kick it off. I mean, one of the great commitment tracks in North America.
Yeah, commitment tracks for sure. This place is super quick. And as far as the Watkins Glen layouts go, this is not the 3.4 mile configuration, Finian. This is the 2.5 mile config, the 7-turn road course that culminates in turns 6 and 7. These would be turns 13 and 14, or I guess it would be 10 and 11 on the full track. And it's fast. You never really slow down here, and that carousel leads you into the wide corner exit where you can carry speed all the way to turn 6.
Yeah, you never, like you mentioned, you never really can slow down. There's not a whole lot of breathing room. There's no really true slow corner around here. Everything kind of flows in together. Everything's medium to high speed. And you can see there that big pack there, because as we're just about halfway through qualifying, that's going to be key for getting a quick time, and especially for the leaders to stay in competition.
And Greg, we've got a lot of heavy hitters returning to this championship this year. Camden Hibbett, Morgan Burkhardt, Olivier Piatek, Nicholas Rice-Budo, all the regular drivers that we've seen in years past, but one of the ones I was focused on that I just learned was joining us was Michael Yachty in this number 777, and this is a driver that we've seen be extremely successful in esports competition. Most recently, already locking up the 2025 Toyota GR Cup North America Esports Championship, which was a big deal put on by SRO, so he's already in a really strong spot in the esports world and looks to continue that success here.
I think he's going to be an absolutely fabulous addition, as you point out, and really, we're just going from strength to strength. And one of the guys that I'm going to really be paying attention to this year, based on what we saw his form in the first season, is Hayden Manis. He just started to show some really impressive speed there in that gray and white 65, and I think we can really see something from him in this second season of SMX competition.
Yeah, really excited to see how Hayden does. P5 right now, big field, over 30 cars, 34 I think at the moment in qualifying here. So this is one of the biggest fields that we've seen. Other notes, Finian, you and I just noticed this.
Yeah.
It's been a little while since we've seen these cars on track. They have a hardtop now. They didn't have this before in iRacing, so they've added that to more closely represent that of the SMX cars in the real world.
Yeah, that was an interesting addition, because I completely missed that in the release notes. I only thought, I guess with this car, it being now more legacy content, wasn't really expecting to get a major overhaul of any sort, but a roof is pretty big, because these things have never had roofs for the majority of their existence on iRacing, so a slight visual difference here for these cars. And honestly, I always enjoyed our hardtop convertibles a little bit more. It gives a nice, clean look, slim look to these cars as they work their way around here, looking at Skip Brock Jr. currently at the lead of this pack. And well, he might be leading the pack physically, might not be leading as far as times are concerned. The leader typically the slowest. Carson Neal benefiting from a slipstream directly in behind him. And he actually peels out a line. Nicholas Rice-Puto, that green and black car in behind as well.
And so, Greg, the other thing I wanted to point out with this hardtop thing here is that the physics, I would expect them to have adjusted the drag parameters with this hardtop as well. So that will actually, and I'm just looking at the speeds I'm seeing, 122 miles an hour off into the bus stop. That is quicker than we've seen by a few miles an hour than in the past. So a little bit of extra straight line speed, that's going to be something to keep an eye on as well.
Yeah, just anytime you've got a car that is a great handling car but a little underpowered, as slippery as you can get it is going to be a great thing, and it's going to be so fun watching these cars. Finian, I got to disagree with you on one thing, bud, and I get what you're saying about the clean, pristine lines of a roof, but man, I love seeing, I've always enjoyed seeing that driver's helmet, seeing them looking in mirrors, and just seeing what the driver's head is doing. It can tell so many stories, but I completely understand what you're saying. The other thing I was going to note, I love this, this layout of this track is just so fast. We've talked about the commitment. It's like driving a street course with those big blue guardrails just feet from the edge of the track. But I do miss the challenge of turn 9. I think one of the trickiest corners. We're way under-respected the turn 9 here that they skip when they don't run that boot.
Yeah, certainly. So there, a handful of different corners in the boot that we'll be skipping here tonight. The downhill, the turn 6 left-hander, then turn 7, then that which is the toe of the boot, turn 8, and then turn 9, as Greg, you referenced it, returning back to the full course, or the short course, I should say, off in the distance there. So that's definitely a tricky turn off camber. Adds a lot of challenge to it. It's dark out there, I should say. The weather, 79 degrees air temp, low humidity, but it's definitely cloudy, even though it's about the middle of the day. I wanted to point out something for those that are eagle-eyed that we also noticed. Not only the hardtop, there's parts sticking out of the hub that are not supposed to be there, and I think that is something that we're going to have to address with iRacing after this show, Finian, because these cars look like they've got spikes like they're about to attack each other, but it looks like it's an axle or something sticking out of the side there.
Honestly, it kind of adds to the look. I kind of like it. It makes like these. It looks like these things are ready to go to war with each other. I'm assuming
it looks like chariots, doesn't it?
It does look like.
Yeah, so that is obviously a visual glitch, I imagine, introduced with the hardtop edition. So we'll pass that along to the necessary people. But note that the timing and scoring shows Hibbett on top, Michael Yanni out there in the 777 as well. And one of the cool things that we get to do here is look at drivers on board and hopefully get a look here at Camden Hibbett. And again, kind of just an interesting look at their world. 104 heart rate. We've seen this in 115 to 120 in the GR Cup Esports World Finian. We'll see if Camden is cool as a cucumber out in front here.
At the moment, he's doing perfectly fine. He's very calm and collected, just kind of running in line. I mean, he is on provisional pole, so yeah, if anything, it should be lower. But we'll see if someone passes him, someone usurps him, if that goes back up as he tries to get an even quicker lap, though I'm sure he's still trying, even now, trying to get a faster lap in.
Well, the interesting thing is we've always seen Camden, he's just so chill. He'll be in the middle of a 8-car pack, and that heartbeat barely goes anywhere. And then we see some of the other drivers, although he's up to a good solid 120 there for an instant, but we'll see other drivers that are just pinging all the time. And having that ability to just stay there and be really chill is pretty cool. I do want to ask you guys a question. How important a season do you think this is for Olivier Piatek, a guy who's got immense speed? His racecraft really seemed to be coming around near the end of last season. I think this is a big one for him.
Absolutely. I think, we always saw him have speed, but just finishing the races and, collecting the points that he should earn, based on his pace. That's yet to be seen, really, I think, to his true full potential. But P5 in qualifying here, the first challenge to earning points, Greg, is qualifying well enough to not have to drive through half the field to get him in the first place. So he's doing well here.
Yep, and take a look. Morgan Burkhardt improved his time to a 25 flat, and that would have put him like 2 100s off of Hibbett, and then Hibbett just cracked off a beauty and has opened that back up again.
One of my favorite things about Watkins Glen, watch the commitment over the curbing, and this is the last time that we're going to see that entry curb represented here in iRacing. They are updating the track next week to represent the newer bus stop configuration, but I'm going to miss those big jumps on the entry, but Morgan Burkhardt charging there, Greg.
Oh, absolutely, and that line right there, just the way he would use that second curb to kick the back out and then just maintain that drift. And it just straightens you out into that next left and then the right, which gives you great exit speed. When you can pull that off consistently, you're going to be quick.
Yeah, quick note on track limits as well. There's a couple places where you can run wide and it won't be a huge deal. The exit of turn 1, they give you a couple car widths of leeway there, leaving the rumble strip and then leaving the carousel as well. That's fair game out there all the way to the fence if you want it. I don't think it's all that fast. I've got certain kind of way feelings about passing people out there, Finian, courtesy of the NASCAR stuff earlier this year. But regardless, about a minute left here in qualifying, and because this is a heat race format event, Finian, we don't get to have a cool down here. Once this clock hits 0, qualifying's over.
Yeah, once it's over, and they'll be ready to go, get out there, immediately reset, and get in and get set for the race because there's some contact there. That is a 67. That's Burkhardt that got knocked out wide. But yeah, you have to reset, get things sorted out, get ready to go. Again, 2 heats for these drivers, 20 minutes each, and that's not going to be all. It's going to feel like an eternity when you're in the middle of this pack, but for the leaders, I imagine it's going to go fairly quickly, and it's going to be interesting to see how they manage themselves at the front. We always talk about that time to wait, that time to pounce, and figuring out when the time to actually strike is. That's a big key for these battles.
Yeah, and also I think as qualifying completes here, I think we should touch on a couple of things before we get to racing here tonight, because things do go quickly. And Greg, I'd love to have you involved with this as well. All the partners and people that make this happen, and Court Schmidt and his entire team behind Full Send Sims. Practice makes podium, and they do such an amazing job. And there's some really cool news that Court shared with us just before this show, that the Wine Country Motorsports store in Jupiter, Florida, has an FSS Pro Sim on display. They make custom racing simulators, Full Send Sims does. They've got one of their Pro Sims on display, and you can actually order your custom Full Send Sim in person at the store, which is really, really cool. But you and I know how much Court and effort Court puts into this and his team puts into this, and they do such an amazing job.
Well, they do, and that Pro Sim is just off the hook. It's absolutely amazing. But the one thing is what that really is just another indication of what we have seen over the past couple of years now, a really continual growth by Full Send Sims. They are exploring new deals. They're opening up all new kinds of opportunities and partnerships to get these incredible sims out there in more hands. And as we've seen, anybody who ends up with a Full Send Sims ends up pleased beyond words with it. And as they say, practice does make podium, and they're now making a real habit of getting people up on the podium.
Certainly do, and there's so many other partners that make this all happen, and we'll talk a little bit about some of them here, including 3P Logistics, Track Services, FARA, Final Turn Motorsports, Wine Country Motorsports, which we mentioned just a moment ago, and Sabelt. We'll talk more about them in between the races here. But Greg, we want to thank you for joining us in qualifying. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show, and we look forward to having you on here again pretty shortly.
I'm going to look forward to it. Have fun, guys.
Oh, we will. Thanks so much. All right, Finian, let's go through our starting lineup. It is a 34-car grid here tonight. Oh boy, this is going to be a blast to watch. Watkins Glen. The one thing I'm worried about is just getting up the hill and through the S's clean the first time. You know, this track, as Greg mentioned, those blue bushes, they funnel you down, and we know it can go 3-4 wide into that first turn. So how we give you the order now might not be how they finish the first lap, but let's go through it. On row 1, it's Camden Hibbett in the number 132, right alongside Morgan Burkhardt in the number 67. He's been running in the IMSA Michelin Pilot Series in a Porsche GT4, so he's well suited to go racing tonight. Michael Yanni, winner of the Toyota GR Cup North America Esports Championship, starts 3rd. Hayden Manis starts 4th. That is Olivier Piatek, Nicholas Rice-Sputo, 5th and 6th. James Newell, Jake Snedden, 7th and 8th. And Trace Hans, Beans Forster, 9th and 10th.
Yeah, solid lineup in that top 10. Moving on back to 11, Gianni Mauro in 11th place. Carson Neal lined up in 12th next to him. 13th is going to be Skip Rock Jr. lined up in 32 next to Nick Yanni in the 14th place position. Michael O'Rourke going to be lining up in 15th. Andrew Rosencroft going to be lined up in 16th. Ian Anderson in 17th next to Elliot Burton in 18th with Dylan Lee 19th and Nathan Himmelsbach in 20th.
Now, lots of new names popping up on the list here. Deacon Greenfield, cool story on that livery we'll tell you about a little later. Sawyer Richards starts 22nd. Then it's Kerry Anderson, Stephen Blethen in 23rd and 24th. Then it's Court Schmidt and Jim Friedhofer that are in row number 13, 25th and 26th. Seth Spolman, Jose de las Casas in 27th and 28th. Then Michael Lauren and Wayne Buttermore start 29th and 30th, Finian.
Yeah, and the last couple drivers, Arif Aziz going to be lined up in the 212 car in 31st. Thomas Bellman actually looked like he was removed from the admins. I'm not sure the reason why, so he won't be participating in tonight's race. Moving on back to the last row of drivers, Josh Picari lined up in 33rd, and with Wanchi Lin, 64 car lined up in 34th.
So it is a big field tonight, 34 cars or thereabouts. Two 20-minute races on the clock here. Another quick look at the weather information. Relatively cool air temp for iRacing standards here for the late summer. 80 degrees Fahrenheit, 96 degree track temp. Low humidity, wind just a slight breeze out of the west, 4 miles an hour is going to do it for the start of these two races. Got to keep it clean and green. And it's about to get really rowdy, Finney, and this place is so fast. I call it the super speedway of road courses. It feels like you never lift. Bottom gear, maybe third for turn one. Everything else is fourth and above. You'll be flying here pretty shortly. And let's double them up. The FSS Esports SMX Series begins their 15-round championship, culminating in a TBD round on December 9th. Here we go. Time to go racing in Season 2 of 2025 for the Full Send Sims iRacing League. Green flag and we're underway from Watkins, Glen. And already 5 across in the middle of the field as they head down to turn number 1. Look at Camden Hibbett, center field there, 3 wide into the first turn.
Ooh, and one car sideways 65, he's able to save it, and then a couple cars cutting each other off and a little bit off the racetrack, but they all merge back on in time for the S as they head up the hill for the first time this season. Yeah,
tense moments here because you can't really do 3 wide, but they're going to try it back there. I think that's Beans Forster. Yes, it is on the outside. Squeeze with Trace Hansen. I think that's Jake Snedden up there as well for the top spot. Burkhardt leads, but here comes Hibbett to the inside. Drag race to the bus stop.
Hibbett looking to see if he can get on point early on. Will make the dive or try to make the dive. No, he'll have to back off a little bit. Burkhardt will send it through and slide in front to secure the lead.
So far, the rest of the field gets through there nice and clean on the opening lap. That's always hard to do as well. Arif Aziz started from the pit lane, by the way, so he'll have some time to make up. Running out wide, fair game here at this version of the racetrack in iRacing. And here's Michael Yanni charging up from 3rd place.
Charging up, looking to see where he can make a move. You see Hibbett working to the outside. Yanni actually kind of stays in line. Thought he can maybe get to the inside of Hibbett, but the line quite wasn't there. And it looks like he has to maintain on through as ahead of the final corner. But it looks like he might have a run here on the front straightaway.
Yeah, building up some momentum really nicely. And he's going to give Camden Hibbett a push here. And they're going to keep pace with Morgan Burkhardt for now. Lap 1 complete. They happened in a hurry. Here comes Skip Rock Jr. on a charge behind Johnny Morrow. And then in the background, I think that's Dylan Lee on the firing line here. The number 2 car on the attack at Trace Hands.
Trying to see if he can get a move done in, but actually Lee lost a little bit of momentum and now broken behind him looking to make a move. But for the most part, everyone's single file up the hill, but that's not going to last long.
No. So Camden Hibbett, Morgan Burkhardt, how much are they willing to do the dance up here this early in the race? Looks like they're going to sit on it for now. I mentioned the livery for Deacon Greenfield. Story here for Deacon. That livery is their real world 2010 SMX that they are going to be running next year in 2026. So this is going to be a real life car for RP. You see RP Performance there on the side, the FSS on the hood. So always cool to see your race car represented in the sim world.
Everyone fanning all the way out, almost to the wall, on the off track, out of the carousel. You know, the old adage: if you know, bought the racetrack and use all the racetrack, and indeed using as much space possible, because it does save them quite a bit of time, because they can be able to carry that momentum all the way out.
Here's league owner and Full Send Sims owner Court Schmidt. It literally says league owner, do not hit on the side of the car. love the humor in that, and he has been before, so just trying to keep it lighthearted.
Like the high-vis coating on tires on the car just to make sure he's extra visible.
Oh, trouble, turn one. James Newell's around, and he's off in the runoff there, and there's damage. And it looks like Skip Brock Jr. is also tangled up in that.
I was going to say, it looked like someone might have given a tap from behind. We'll take a look at the replay and see what caused this.
Lunge there from, I think that was Gianni Morrow that got into him, and Skip Brock just a victim there. See also, that was...
Hayden Manis, that might have gotten a piece of his.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like contact on the nose for him.
Oh gosh, and that was big damage for Newell, so both those drivers will likely be out. Damage is pretty sensitive on these cars. That's unfortunate. We were just talking about how some of these drivers coming off of such a strong season one are just looking to get some good races under their belt. And I think to win this championship, you have to be top 5 basically every race. With how good Hibbett and Burkhardt have been, and Rice Budo, you can't have races like that, and it's tough to start like that.
Yeah, and actually looking at the leads, you can see the top 4 have checked out with all that contact we saw in turn 1 that allowed them to kind of split off away from the race. The rest of the group, the main pack, now currently being led by Beans Forrester, Gianni Mairo, and Rice Budo in behind 5th, 6th, and 7th, as well as the rest of the pack in behind them. So for the leaders, I was going to say they may want to stick single file and work together, but Michael Yanni looking for the lead in turn 1.
Yeah, he wasn't willing to sit behind these two. It might be the wild card here. Not, as far as I know, not cooperating with the teammates here. So he takes a swing for the lead. It's going to bring Piatek right in the mix. And this is not what they want to do if they want to maintain that big advantage that they had over 5th place, but they're scrapping up the hill.
Yeah, they're not willing to sit single file. Look at them. They're lined up tandem drafting like it's NASCAR here.
Here comes Piatek to the outside. What a move here. You can't do that at Watkins Glen. He's going to give it a try.
Well, Burkhardt and Michael Yanni, it looks like they've hooked up and they're doing some bump drafting that's actually helping to get Yanni to the lead. Burkhardt going to try to secure it to the inside ahead of Piatek, who will have to back off. He will. And here comes Camden Hibbett looking to his outside in the carousel.
I was pretty impressed with how orderly that was, all things considered, going into the bus stop. They went in there looking like it was about to be mayhem. They're not even touching the curb. They're so carrying so much speed out that it almost looks like they're about to take the long course, Vanina, before they course correct and stay on the short version.
Yeah, they'll stay tucked single file, but all that battling, it's allowed Beans Forrester and the rest of the pack to catch back up. So what little advantage they had, it is now gone. And I guess they might have figured it might have been gone anyway, so might as well have some fun while they're at it. But out of the final corner, Michael Yanni will lead the lap. Burkhardt getting a run on him down the front straightaway. Yeah,
love the look on board that Beans always gives us with the pedal cam and things of the sort. He's up 5 spots from the start of the race, so making really nice progress. And he's won races before, been in championship contention. I think he's off to a good start here.
And look at that footwork. That's becoming slowly more of a lost art as more and more cars are shifting to a basic sequential transmission. So really have to finesse the legwork, and we're seeing it here, and those drivers are near the front. Speaking of which, look at this battle now. Piatek giving a run 3 wide again as they come out of the S's with a big move to the outside for, I believe that is Hibbett working to the outside. He will try to carry it on to the lead. He cannot. Oh, almost gets into Piatek there as Burkhardt goes sailing on through.
Yeah, it's really risky to be doing what they're doing in the bus stop right now, but it is a lot of fun to race like that. Look at Hayden Manis on a recovery. They're a little wide there in the bus stop. He'll gather it up, but the aggression level's very high. I'm glad you brought out the conversation about the heel toe downshifting. You know, Greg is a big proponent of the heel toe because you don't see it a lot these days, and I love it because it brings in such a unique element to hold that thought. These guys were scrappy a moment ago. It's just a lost art, and it requires a lot of practice to get it just right. And I wanted to show this. It's the 147 here of Ian Anderson. This is what this runoff can get you in trouble with. He runs out wide, gets overlap out here, and then wants back on. No, that's not going to play. And
Ian Anderson trying to get on through because he's struggling a little bit. That nose to the front end of the car. I mean, at such a high-speed track like Watkins Glen, you really need all the aero to work as much. These cars don't have much, which honestly makes it more important to make sure that nose is clean. Unfortunately, has a damage that's hurting him a little bit as Court Schmidt trying to work his way up, +5 positions since the start of the race, so decent climb forward, and probably doesn't want to look in his mirror. He's got a hornet's nest of Miatas in behind him.
No, I think on his right there, doesn't he have a virtual mirror on a separate display? That's a pretty fancy rig.
Awesome.
That's really cool. It's very GT3 car-esque, isn't it? But
yeah.
this just goes to show you the amount of detail and effort that Full Send Sims can put into your rig, and if you want to spec it out and give yourself a virtual mirror, hold that thought.
3 wide up ahead. Carson Neal made a big, Trace Hansen, I think, made a big move on Rasputo, as I think I heard someone either get major contact or blow a transmission.
I think it was trouble in the middle of the back straightaway. Trace Howell, huge crash. Somebody goes tumbling up and over the top. Are you kidding me?
This is going to be big. This is going to be huge.
Wow, what a mess on the back straightaway. It's Michael Brock.
And they're still making contact. They're still working their way on through. They're still making contact as everyone tries to fan on through.
Oh gosh, man.
And that collected about 10 different drivers.
It was just like the NASCAR wreck back there that I was kind of alluding to, but sort of a similar story here with how this starts. Go back again, we'll watch from high above. When you've got this runoff to play with, this is where you get yourself into trouble. They're gonna go just off camera here, but they're all in this runoff. They all kind of get back on track, and that's where they start tangling together.
It actually started Trace Hands, what I was saying that in that battle earlier, is that he made a big dive out of the bus stop. Oh boy.
Gosh, watch this thing get tripped up and over. This is a big one. Michael Brock just a victim here. Not much that he could do about this. But it's going to take out a whole bunch of cars. See, Brock just tries to turn to the left right here. Wow. I haven't seen a wreck like that in a while.
Yeah, I haven't. And, we talked about one of the worst places to have a crash being right before the S's where everyone funnels down. This is probably the second worst spot on the racetrack to have a wreck because, again, it also funnels in because there's an underpass onto the racetrack. So the walls funnel in. They come in right up against almost like a street circuit with the walls on either side. And there is little to no place for anyone to go. So unfortunate accident that took out a decent portion of the field, though. Up at the front, they're unfazed. They're still going hard at it.
Aren't they? What, we got 5-6 cars all in a line here. Morgan Burkhardt.
And we're only halfway through.
I know, there's a lot of racing left to go. Here comes Hibbett to the inside again on Burkhardt. And Piatek and Yanni don't seem to be playing the same game that those front two are, but they're trying to kind of control both lines. Little contact there. Look out. Yanni's fighting for space on the rumble strips.
Yeah, Piatek a little love tap there on the exit of turn 1 that sent Camden Hibbett a little bit loose, but he's able to recover, killed some momentum. Speaking of which, here comes Yanni with a big run, gives a shove to the back of Morgan Bernhardt, and here comes Beans Forrester, who's been awfully quiet amongst his top 4, and now where does he go? Oh, door-to-door contact, they're touring each other down the back straightaway, still making contact.
Oh boy, this makes me nervous. Into the bus stop, here we go, side by side again. And the amount of talent, I don't think I can express how much talent it takes to go through there side by side without a mess. I think Burkhardt's going to get a cut course penalty for that slide over the inside rumbles.
It looked like, according to iRacing scoring, he did not. He got away with it, but we got to take a look at that drift that Morgan Burkhardt was holding to the bus stop because he somehow managed to hold it off. Although we may want to hold on that for a second as they're side by side. But look at that!
Gosh. Oh yeah, he sort of kept it on track there. I say sort of very loosely.
He did the best he could. Honestly, all things considered, that could have been a lot worse.
Johnny Morrow got hip checked there by Piatek in the middle of turn 6. That pushes them both wide, and they're going to return the favor here, leaving turn 7 and a little contact with the safer.
I think, considering the amount of door-to-door contact we're seeing, we should be really glad those little spikes aren't actually affecting anything.
Down tires left and right.
Oh man, it would have been so many blown tires. Pit road would have been very busy.
Yeah. Side by side for the lead still. These two are not giving it up.
Yeah, look at that Burkhardt. Hibbett, Yanni looks like a GR86 race with those 3 names up at the top of the scoring pylon.
All 3 of those competing in SRO's official esports championship this year, which is done with the Toyota GR Cup car. And Yanni was the champion of that series. Hibbett and Burkhardt were somewhat regular and performed at a pretty high level there. But again, Camden much calmer in this race than he was in those circumstances.
Give him about 5 laps and ask him again how he's feeling. Have to come back to that. Even in behind, too, they're really getting aggressive with each other.
Jake Snedden, a name that we started seeing late last year, 8th to 6th. And Carson Neal, we popped in on earlier. He's 12th to 7th, so +5 for him. All up in the mix here. Then Beans Forster kind of dropped out of that lead group a little while ago, but not too far back. Here comes, ooh, look at Snedden popped out on Piatek, and turn 6, you can make it happen here, but this is a fast turn at 90-mile-an-hour min speed there for those cars.
Yeah, the thing is you want to make sure you clear them, otherwise they come back at you when you go back to the right, heading back on the front straightaway. Whew, awfully close to the wall there.
7 minutes to go in just race 1 of 2.
Big thing to note ahead of the leaders, quite a bit of lap traffic. They may or may not catch up to them, but if they do, it's a decent amount. There's one car directly ahead, and that is James Newell. Actually, sorry, Nate Himmelsbach ahead of him, then James Newell's, and then a pack of 3 ahead of them. So it may run out of time before that becomes an issue, but if something happens up there, it could definitely affect the leaders. I
think they are going to get there, and they're carrying a lot more speed in the draft. I think their lap time delta to will use. Trying to figure out where they are on the running order. Last lap they were, well, I guess they were only about a half second quicker because they are battling. But a half second multiplied over 4 laps, that's 2 seconds worth of time.
Keep an eye on it, see if that does play into effect, but at the moment the leaders are involved with themselves. Burkhardt, Hibbett, Yanni, Maero, your top 4. And then, should say, top 5 is Jake Snedden now appearing into frame in behind. He's got a run on Maero, trying to see if he can move up to 4th place.
Well, here comes
Bob and weave and bob down the back straightaway.
Who's this Bob guy you keep talking about? Side by side again for the top spot, and Yanni sized him up. It's just been interesting to watch him because he's not necessarily beholden to what these front 2 teammates are going to do. So that opens up the door for Yanni to kind of pick their pocket, but they've kind of been distractingly taking up most of the width of the track. So where do you go?
That's a great question. Yanni's going to spend the next 5 minutes trying to figure out. Well, they might make some contact here. Yanni might have an open door. Not quite.
Look at the run. That Burkhardt just opens the wheel a little sooner, carries some extra speed, and he doesn't run off the road, but he uses that little extra room to get there. And they, right there, you saw Yanni give Hibbett a push, but they were kind of right at the low torque point up at the S's where the engine's not making a lot of torque. It's badly geared for this uphill climb, and it didn't really help him a lot.
No, it did not. And I thought he would have run out a little bit wider, but he kept it just on that line where it gave him momentum while not losing him track position. I see Hibbett try to get ahead of Burkhardt, who will carry the momentum on through and will just slide ahead into the carousel. Still sliding.
That was pretty wild. And you saw Burkhardt and Hibbett both, making concessions on their braking.
Boy. Look at this back now.
Yeah, this is going to be a mess. This is going to be fun. I love full set sims, man. Good to be back in form at one of, I think, the most exciting tracks in the country.
It's definitely entertained here for the first 15 minutes of this race, and coming to the last 5, this is where it's really going to get entertaining as the gloves are going to start to come off here, if they haven't already, arguably.
Yeah, I wonder how much the roof is affecting these cars. They seem so much racier. They're faster, more slippery. I really think that roof addition is going to make this a really fun season. This is a battle for 3rd in your shot now for 4th with Morrow and Snedden, and the leaders are still door-to-door ahead.
Side by side, now back to single file up ahead, but meanwhile in behind, Jake Snedden trying to make some moves. He finally gets a purchase point on Maero and will be side by side up the hill, now to the outside. Maero comes back just a small bit, and I think it's really going to come down to where they can get the slipstream up ahead. And Snedden's betting for that a lot.
Pretty critical to be at the front of this secondary pack because these leaders are going to fight pretty tooth and nail. We're coming to 2 laps to go next time by, so the fight for 3rd, or maybe I guess 4th in this instance, is going to be real fierce because the leaders, that they're going to get door-to-door. You just want to be ready to pick their pocket and steal the spot. So Carson Neal, a little lateral slide there in the blue and white car. Blue and yellow, rather.
And he's had a really good start to this race. Started back in 12th. Will move all the way up now to 5th place. He just lost that 1 spot to Snedden. Trying to see if he can now get it back. Maybe move himself even further up as leaders side by side, Hibbett and Burkhardt.
You can't lead these 2 alone, can you?
No, you can't.
You put up like a baby gate or something, keep them from fighting each other. Like a Chihuahua and a pit bull going at it. They're going to all go all the way out to the wall. Here comes Yanni to take the lead. And he will, as they come to 2 laps to go. That little tangle between the 2 teammates is going to put them to 4th and 5th, just like that.
Picking the pocket, and Yanni just robbed them in broad daylight as to go 3 wide in behind. A shallow dive from Iro. Thought that could have been worse. Still might be worse as they're going to be 3 wide. They got to sort this out.
Yeah, this was not good for Morgan Burkhardt in particular, and Camden Hibbett. They're still side by side, and they are not giving it up. And checking in with Camden, he looks like he's having fun, but they've got their work cut out for them in the next lap and a half. It's not a long lap here.
Yeah, it really is, and we're coming around next time by should be final lap. So lap and a half they have left to kind of manage to get themselves up to the front, but they're still side by side. They're still battling with each other, even though it's for 4th. And actually looks like Hibbett will surrender that Burkhardt up to 4th place now. Now, what do you do in his shoes? Because that's a lot of ground to make up in a lap and a half.
It's a longer championship than it has been. 15 races on the calendar. So it's going to play out to averages more. I don't know that individual wins are going to count so much, but being in the top 5, being consistent will certainly be a big deal. But I know that they are, if you win, everything else takes care of itself. So
the last thing you do want to do is wreck. That's also the thing you want to keep in the back of the mind. How worth is it to make that send?
Yeah, and we talked about how much it can derail a season to have just 1 wreck, let alone 3 or 4 when you're battling this hard. Elbows come out. White flag, 1 lap to go in race 1 of the night, Finian.
1 lap to go. Yanni's got a comfortable lead over Sneddon, who I want to say has been waiting a while for this moment to come, see if he can get a run out of turn 1 and plot something up the S's. Though there's a lap car, not sure how much is going to help Yanni out. It may or may not.
I think it will. I'm not sure if it's going to completely defend him. See Sneddon already closing this gap as we climb the S's, but watch the gap close. 3 car lengths, 2.5, 2. That's how quickly it can close. And here comes Jake Sneddon with a chance to win. Yanni goes defensive.
Well, they might catch the lap car in an awkward place depending on how quickly he is to the bus stop. Here we go, but he actually will back out. Yanni deep into the bus stop.
And look at Morgan Burkhardt with a huge lunge. Carried a lot of speed here. Here he comes. He is just absolutely death taxes, and Morgan Burkhardt challenging for the lead here. Carousel final time.
Try to take advantage. Sneddon leaving the door open. The lap car will move to the side. He wants to stay out of this. He wants nothing to do with it. Yanni leading up ahead. Hibbett trying to make a move on Burkhardt.
Yeah, they're going to go side by side into turn 6, and I think that's going to potentially take away their chances to win this race. Sneddon, though, is right there. Is he close enough? Michael Yanni on debut in the Full Send Sims SMX Series. Just wrapped up a championship in a Toyota GR Cup car in the SMX. Round 1 of his debut, he wins it at Watkins Glen.
Wow, what a solid debut that is.
Job well done. 4 laps of the 14 led. Burkhardt 3rd, Camden Hibbett 4th. The rest of the field comes around before we tick the session over. Let's have a look here at the results. Oh man, I am so excited for every single track on the calendar. I really think that slicking off the roof is going to make this a really fun season. A little bit less drag, a little more speed, but the draft is still there.
It is there and in full force, and we saw the best part of it on display here for these drivers. Really fantastic stuff. Amazed we didn't have any more issues other than that massive wreck after the opening couple laps. But at the lead, very, very solid racing, and we just saw there with Yanni, waited for the right moment to strike, found the opportunity, and pretty much never looked back since then.
Yeah, really, job well done by... Look at Court Schmidt. Where did Court start this race? Court started at 25th, so plus 15 for him. Great climb there, surviving that melee that you talked about on the back straightaway. Hayden Manis just outside the top 10. Sawyer Richards. That was a really intense drive there by Court to drive up into the top 10. So Deegan Greenfield recovered. You see a couple positions still kind of changing here as drivers finish up their races. James Newell probably a little bit disappointed in that result. And then basically from Nate Himmelsbach on down, all drivers that were involved in that big backstretch crash, Finian. The runoff at Watkins Glen, you got to treat it with respect. It is runoff, not racetrack, and we got a little bit messy getting back on course there.
Yeah, the runoff giveth and the runoff definitely taketh away, as we saw there in that incident. Hopefully the last major incident we'll see. I probably just jinxed us right then and there by saying that, but that was an absolutely massive wreck for these drivers. But yeah, hopefully it doesn't happen, especially up near the lead. The leaders for the most part have been fairly clean, if not a little bit elbows out here and there, but you almost kind of have to with the way the pack racing is at this track.
Well, I think Greg's still hanging out. We got a couple minutes. I'd love for Greg to pop back in here and tell us what he saw. Greg, what a race. I'm excited. What's your thoughts after that first race?
Holy cow, basically. Yeah, just an absolutely mega race. Loving what we're seeing. What a debut by Janny. And I mean, you look at the top 10 there. A lot of new faces up there that aren't regularly in the top 10. And I think what you guys were talking about previously with the addition now of the hardtop, just making these things all the more raceable, draftable. You just got a lot more wild cards that are going to slot in. I do, however, have to jump in and say I hate the lack of any track limits at the exit of turn 5. I think there's track limits for a reason, and we saw that huge wreck and a lot of close calls. And I think stay on the racetrack. It's going to be a lot cleaner. Maybe not as much fun if you like seeing cars tumbling. But to me, that's part of being in control of your car is being able to race the track. And that wreck was so avoidable, I think. Don't you guys?
I agreed with you, and actually, it looked very similar, eerily similar to a wreck that actually happened here just a couple weeks ago in the NASCAR Xfinity Series, where two drivers were running in the runoff, tagged each other in the quarter panel, and basically just hooked each other into the wall and blocked the track. Yeah. Pretty much exactly the same thing. Initially, not having a harsh track limit there, I think, was okay when drivers could police themselves, Finian. But as we saw, I think maybe time to reevaluate that area of the racetrack. Yeah.
As someone that's admin for a major esports series, I can tell you, do not leave the drivers to judge it up for themselves, because they will always push the limit. And wherever there is speed to be had, they will find it and they will push right up to that limit.
Yeah, certainly.
But when you're driving right behind the leading edge of the exit curb and you're still angling to the left, that's excessive in my book.
I would agree with you there for sure. So, excessive track limits usage, but that's going to be the topic, unfortunately, for the second race beyond the amazing racing. Greg, and I have to say, I really do think that there's something about the hardtop that I know maybe doesn't look as cool, but or maybe it does, depending on who you ask. But I do think that with a little extra straight line speed, it really woke these cars up. We saw this when we sort of uncorked them from the previous SM configuration to the SMX configuration. This seems to be more in that direction. A little bit more power, a little less drag. They still draft really well, but man, do they race good.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, as that race was unfolding, that hardtop was getting a lot more attractive to me. For that very reason, because it was just visually obvious that they were just a little bit more aggressive again. And in the hands of these guys, that's showtime, Yeah,
it was a lot of fun to watch. I think we're geared up for another really exciting race here in just a short minute. We wanted to also point out where our next race is next week. We go to another new track on the calendar for this series. We mentioned the Chicago Street Course, which will hit on the 2nd of December. But, Finian, next week we go to Portland, of all places. So I'm excited for that one. I thought I had already purchased that track, but I did my first laps on it just the other day. Familiar with it from watching IndyCar and NASCAR, but I think that'll be a really fun track in these cars as well.
Yeah, definitely in a slower speed car like this, will be definitely interesting to see them fly around there. It's going to be definitely interesting into the chicane. That's going to be a major passing spot, as it already is on the actual circuit in higher speed cars like in NASCAR and in IndyCar. But yeah, it's a very tight course in that first sector, and I think it's perfect for small little cars like this.
Yeah, and the schedule, again, peppered with all sorts of really fun tracks. A couple others new to it this year. I don't believe we've done Circuit of the Americas before, Greg, but I think people have an opinion about COTA. My opinion is that every time I've gone there, I've liked how it raced, so I'm excited to see how these guys race there, too.
Yeah, COTA is in a car like this. COTA is a really good track. Where COTA's the problem is when you've got a heavy car. Could even have a lot of horsepower, but it's big and lumbering. And these cars are anything but. And the flow of these cars, especially through the S's at COTA, I think, will be spectacular. Again, that stadium section where, you go from increasing radius to decreasing, and then you flip it back. Just watching the really savvy drivers work lines through there is really, really cool to watch, no question. And I'll tell you, Portland, I'm not sure I've got the turn number right, but turn 7, I think, which I've seen some people pull off some really surprise passes into that turn. And that track could be a lot of fun, too. The World Challenge touring cars there, Kyle, put on some amazing races.
I'm excited for it, and we should also mention that the COTA event will be on the West course as well, so it'll be a slightly shorter lap time, which will make things sort of interesting. That will be on November the 18th. So got a lot coming up on the calendar, but next couple of weeks we go to Portland, Daytona, and then Road America. So some big tracks, I guess, saved for Portland coming up. And then, of course, we head to Sonoma, which on the 30th of September. That'll be on a brand new rescan, so really excited for that. That will hopefully debut this time. We thought it might last, in the spring, Finian, but...
Yeah, because we thought it might debut in June, thought it might debut in spring, so finally we're getting it.
Yes.
Long overdue for that track. Sonoma, I think probably at this point, probably one of the oldest road courses as far as the scan's concerned in iRacing.
Maybe Summit Point beats it, but Summit Point did get a visual refresh a while ago. So. Anyway, Greg, thanks for checking in, and again, buckle up for the second race of the evening. Another 20 minutes about to go down.
Pump, man. Have fun again.
Oh, we will. So, cars are rolling off here for their pace lap, and then starting grid this time, Finian, on the left-hand side of the screen. And, we learned that Michael Yanni already to his winning ways, but took a little bit of miscoordination by Morgan and Camden for that to happen. What do you think they've learned from that?
Basically, don't do that. Although that being said, that they are starting slightly on the back foot in this race with Burkhardt in third, Hibbett in fourth. So I think it's just a matter of just maybe they want to be a little bit more patient earlier on and maybe try to pull the reverse on Yanni, who I will say seems very confident, very solid at the front of the field. So it might be hard to shake him. He's definitely used to being in the front, as we talked about his dominance in some other championships. So definitely be a hard one to find, especially because they haven't really raced him a whole lot, especially in this car. So it's a little bit of an unknown of how his typical driving style is, especially defending near the front. That could also be something they got to figure out and try to find some way to poke a hole in that defense.
Well, through the trees, waiting for that shot, and there it is as they come into the bus stop now. Picking a winner for this one, in the words of Matthew Deschen, who's watching in the chat, I got my money on one of them, so bet you a Mazda will win. So, it was like a tornado of energy at the front of the field. And obviously that big wreck took out a couple of players, but that was pretty deep in the field. I think we're gearing up for another really entertaining race with not a lot to predict. I think the one thing I did note, though, is the aggression level was really high in the bus stop. I like it from an entertainment perspective. I don't like it from as I use the word co-opetition a lot, perspective, because it just takes one little slip and your whole night is over. I think that there's a lot of risky driving happening down there, and taking advantage of the iRacing very strong suspensions. But again, you got to be cautious, because one little tap could send you into the wall and take out you and other competitors. So here we go. Throw caution to the wind and get a green flag ready to fly here in just a moment's time. Michael Yanni, Jake Snedden, Burkhardt, Hibbett, Carson Neal, your top five. Pace cars off, 20 minutes on the clock. Green flag, we're underway again in the FSS SMX Series. Round one, race two. Oh boy.
Indeed, a big dive. Trying to see who that is on the inside. That's Ian Anderson. Big dive. Oh, car around in the middle of the field.
Oh, and that's Camden Hibbett, I think, isn't it? It is Camden Hibbett. And Court Schmidt destroyed.
Oh, no. And I was just about to say, Court Schmidt did so well in race number one, and a great starting spot from 10th in this.
Ooh. Yeah, Deacon Greenfield just splitting the difference there. We'll check back in on that one a little later, because we've got a lot going on up at the front of the field, but it looked like Piatek got into the back of Burkhardt, turned him around, ended his night, Court Schmidt's night. Camden's still rolling, actually, but I'm not sure. Yeah, the car's destroyed.
Yeah, now that car is definitely done for, unfortunately. Into a strong day early on. Ooh, it's someone, I think, just blew an engine.
Yeah. A lot of scattering happening at the exit of the bus stop.
Oh, it was Deacon Greenfield that blew an engine, unfortunately.
Yeah. This is like, it's always like NASCAR at Daytona. There's always one race that has real good and then one that's got, you know, some messy moments. I thought we might have got our mess out of the way with that one big wreck, but lap one of this one a little bit more challenging here. Into turn 7, Burkhardt the second, but maybe it's a good thing that he doesn't have Hibbett right behind him. They are teammates, but they were scrapping really hard last time, I think to their detriment.
Yeah, well, now it can be potentially a little bit more focused. That being said, Jake Sneddon, Carson Neal, Olivier Patek in behind in 5th. They're all very strong drivers, very competitive as you look at that replay.
I want to go back again and just see how it started. Didn't see. Oh, Kevin was actually, my apologies to Piatek. He was already sideways before.
Yeah, that was
Piatek
Carson Neal that I think had made contact. Whoa!
He's spinning still. That car's just not doing well. Here comes Jake Sneddon to the outside of Burkhardt on the backstretch. This is for second place.
Yeah, and that 11 was very quiet in the first race. Didn't poke a whole lot at Yanni for the lead coming to the end. Tried a little bit here and there, but now he might have a chance to see what he's really made of. Yanni sends it into the bus stop. Sneddon a little bit more conservative, checks up everyone else in behind. Carson Neal trying to hold off Piatek, who's making a big charge.
And Hayden Manis, driver that Greg pointed out before the night started, finished 11th in race 1. Probably needed a little bit more than that to match his pace, but here he is, P6 now, and in a good spot.
And also want to point out in behind, there's Ian Anderson. Take a look at the driver ahead of him, Wanshi started race number 1 in 34th place. He drove all the way up to 12th. And now already +4 in 8th. So he's having a very good night forward. It's probably the second best night to Court Schmidt in that regard.
Had a chance to meet Munchie at Lime Rock Park earlier. He was out there for Grid Life Circuit Legends. Got a chance to chat with him a little bit, but as you pointed out, a really strong climb through the field. And his pace looks pretty solid right now. Just ran his best lap of the race. Heard him have to lift there a little bit through the center of the first turn. Little understeer. It's not always faster to run out wide there, Finian, but it is easier to just unwind the wheel and let the car carry out to the runoff.
Yeah, I think if him and a couple others can get involved in that leading group, which I think they should be able to because they're battling again once more, as Yanni gets displaced with a big charge of 1, 2, almost 3 cars pushing past him for the lead.
Carson Neal swinging to the outside in the 141, the blue and yellow car. A little bit of a reshuffling of the deck there. Wanted to go back to highlight Skip Rock Jr. and Nicholas Rice-Budo. Both these drivers had pretty terrible race 1s by virtue of that wreck on the backstretch. And have a lot of work to do to make up for lost points. There's Rice-Budo, looking awful similar to Piatek there. And then Skip Rock Jr. in his familiar pale yellow and navy blue livery. 26th in race 1, up to 20th now.
Rice-Budo, big run, heading into the penultimate corner. Big dive to the inside. Trying to see if he can get that one spot. Ooh, slight contact, but actually has to check up, and great job at James Newell to take advantage of the situation. He moves up one spot.
Yeah, snuck in there and grabbed the spot back. Dylan Lee and Jim Friedhofer, and who else is in there? 3 wide. It's Elliot Burton into number 6.
And Burton will continue to look to the inside of Friedhofer as they will both continue side by side. Lee up and ahead and away inside the top 10.
Watch Forrester getting up through the gears here. Watch the 89 sneak back to the inside of Burton. Didn't want to give it up, but he's going to have to because Bean's got right side tires on the curbs and shoves his way forward into the draft punk number 6, which I love that play on words there.
It's a great run, looking to see he has that purchase point, but not quite able to get there. Ooh, tried to work to the outside, but decided against it last second.
See that little panic he had, the little panic shuffle steer? Then the smile. Yeah, then the smile on his face I thought was pretty good as well. Hey, look, there's Greg and I. Ooh, he's way
at
out
the rest
there.
of the field.
Yeah.
They're all the way out there. It's funny, every lap they go a little bit more to the left.
Trace Hans trying to get overlap of Michael Brock. Brock finished race 1 21st after being sort of the center point of that really big wreck, tumbling in the air.
Ooh, fake out free offer scared him. Couldn't take advantage of the situation. Here comes Trey's Hands 3 wide on the front stretch.
And Jose de las Casas, great looking paint scheme on this car as well. Watching the 3 wide, and I'll bet you he's going to swing left here and then get a good run on exit. Here he comes. Turns in,
there's the
he's going to
opportunity.
get 2.
Gets 1, tries to get 2. Side by side with Friedhofer. Going to be up the S's battling with him. That's a battle for 14th.
That was really savvy to steal a word from Greg's vocabulary there to see that coming and turn down to the apex, get on throttle a little sooner and beat them all the way up the hill.
Excellent stuff in the midfield.
Yeah, and back up at the front too. Burkhardt in control, but slightly different top 5 than we're used to. So the same leader and maybe the same bookend with the Piatek P5, but Snedden, Neal, and Yanni 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, Yanni got shuffled out.
Trouble, and Friedhofer.
Oh, is this damage or is this a blown engine? I'm wondering.
I think he had some contact here, didn't he? Run out wide. Oh, just spins a little too much. Gets the curb. And into the wall. Wow, look how tight quarters this is. Skip Rock Jr. and Rasputo still getting after it. Really tight inches between those two.
Yeah, still trying to dice through the field. With limited success, here comes Rasputo now side by side with Brock. And in behind them, Nick Yanni now trying to make a move, work to the top.
See the 80 of Wozencroft just up the road. He's pretty far off the road, isn't he? But started 29th up to 14th in this race just by carving his way through.
It's a hip check from Rasputo to Skip Rock Jr. moving him out of line. He's back now to 20th, but back up near the front of the order. Michael Yanni now trying to work and move up to 3rd. Gets a good slipstream run against Neal, but doesn't quite have the line. And he'll have to bail back to 4th.
This group coming into the bus stop here is looking really tight. No way they make this through.
It'll be very clumsy, but they managed to make it through.
Clumsy is a great word for that. Oh, there's Nick Yanni.
Cars of the grass.
Yeah, that was a course, I think, for Nick, just bailing out of the chaos there. I think Wozy's got one as well. He's offline. And Nick will have to jump on the binders there for a second.
That makes me nervous. I just saw Rasputo and De Las Casas make door-to-door contact right where we saw the last wreck happen.
Yeah, why has that been a hot spot as of late? I can't really recall any wrecks anywhere happening on that part of the racetrack. And then it's like NASCAR crashes there, and everyone's like, oh, I didn't know we could crash there. Let's add that one to the list.
De Las Casas, I think, got into the wall slow on the front straightaway. Oh, yeah, made some decent contact there on the exit. That might have damaged the left side of that car. Keep an eye on him as we look back at the leaders. Burkhardt leading with Snedden, Neal, Yanni. And Piatek in top 5. It's been, for the most part, fairly quiet. I think it's just the calm before the storm.
Yeah, they're working together a little bit better up here. I say a little bit.
Be a hurricane.
Because Snedden just got a big push from Carson Neal. And these drivers don't seem to have the same...
Oh, big checkup.
Well, contact there between Manis and Piatek, I think, too. But these drivers don't seem to have the same cooperation that drivers have had in past years. Ooh.
Yeah, they all kind of approached each other at the same point in time and had to break it for the corner at some point.
Really, the most intense battles have been back for about 20th spot. You mentioned De Las Casas, Stephen Blethen, Nate Himmelsbach, who finished in 24th. He hasn't made a lot of progress this time around. He's in that number 43, the red and black car there.
Oh, easy, boys. Fighting 3 wide, and we almost saw another car through the grass. Still 3 wide with Skip Rock Jr. down to the inside.
Oh, man.
And around the outside. Oh, that was Himmelsbach with a great move. Gets 1, might get 2 here on Blethen.
Now, I want to go back and watch that slice because he carved his way. Watched the 43, the red car, turn in across Jose de las Casas here. Right there. That could not have been more than 6 inches.
Fantastic driving. He got 3 spots and 2 corners.
Oh, gosh, that makes me feel ill how close that was to see the 50 runoff course.
There's a lot of trust involved in making a pass like that.
Is it trust or gusto?
Yes. That's the answer to that question.
Hayden Manis popping online, trying to go the long way around to Piatek. Here's Carson Neal. Super aggressive. I'd like to say that Carson Neal's car is another real-world livery. Just judging by the look of it, I feel like I've seen this car before. Maybe it's just common to have a yellow roof and blue MX-5, but it seems awful familiar. Gianni Morrow's got issues.
Oh, might be internet? Nope, it looks like it left the track.
Bus stop.
Just got to slow down. Yeah. He decided that was enough.
All the quits. That will not fare well in the point standings, though, unfortunately. Here's Wozy and Sawyer Richards. And Nick Yanni at the back of the shot, hidden by Wozy's number 80.
Yanni trying to work his way on through. He will dive on through.
Oh,
and Rosencroft gets the wall a little bit on exit. Second time we've seen that happen on camera.
That's pretty big hit too. I think he'll get away without at least a little bit of damage. Fender looks okay. That's the side of the car though. We'll see it when he turns in. Not bad. Just a flesh wound.
Could be worse.
Whoa, okay, that's real fog. I wonder, these cars were previously slow enough that they wouldn't actually get a slowdown by going out there, but
they're testing the waters. Yeah. You can definitely say that's for sure. Up at the front, Michael Yanni, pass 1, pass 2, back up to second place with the slipstream out of the S's.
And they've knocked Manis and Piatek off this group, so it's just 4 drivers out front now.
Yeah, Wanchi Lin up to 5th place. He's also flying through the field.
Wow, really? Here he is. Wow, you're right.
Yeah. Stuck his way up through. He passed all those guys in that second group, or it's now the second group.
What a drive. Maybe they've got time to run those front 4 down if they start to fight in the closing 7 minutes.
I was going through the replay on lap 8 out of the bus stop. The reason why they actually lost the pack, Hayden Manis got into the back of Olivier Piatek, and that caused him to lose a lot of speed, and that's actually how Wanchi Lin got the spot. There it is right there.
Yeah. Go back a little further. See it from Hayden Manis is on board.
There, a little bit of a nudge. A little bit of nudge again. Pushed them off wide, still nudging each other. And then Wanchi came flying through with a head full of steam. Went to the middle, said thank you very much.
There it is, and took both spots.
Just like that.
Out front, 6 minutes to go. And Michael Yanni's trying to make this a 2-horse race for first place, giving Burkhardt a really big shove. But it's just tough to separate drivers out that much. Usually you're going to have a couple stragglers on your tailpipes you didn't want to have to deal with.
Yeah, it is fairly easy for the most part for these drivers to keep on through. Whoa, contact, Beans Forrester, Dylan Lee around out of the bus stop.
Oh!
Major contact.
And back across the road and into, I think that was Rice Budo. It was. Oh man, he has just not had luck tonight.
Michael Brock is very lucky he didn't crash through that. He swerved through like Lightning McQueen.
Wow, what happened here? Here it is again. 3 wide into the bus stop. Trace Hance on the front of that. Then Beans there just gets into the side of Dylan Lee, and then not much the 6 could have done. He got hit in a big way. Then right back across, ricocheted into Bryce Budo.
Michael Brock actually looks like he's pulling into pit lane. He does have a meatball flag, so yes, if he gets that car repaired, unfortunately can't continue on. I thought he might have been able to get away with it, but I can see that right front not looking particularly hot. So fortunate end to what could have been a decent race for him.
Wanchi Lin's got friends, I suppose, in the form of Piatek and Manis. And then Ian Anderson. He's kind of been lingering in the top 10 tonight. Here comes Piatek now past Lin. We'll see if Lin can fight this off here into the bus stop or if he'll tuck back in line. The answer is the latter.
I guess he figured he might be a little bit faster, and they're to the point where they're fairly close to the leaders. And if they start to fight a little bit more, we got to slow down, went a little bit too aggressive.
It's Olivier Piatek. So black flag for the 611. I'm sure he'll try to bleed this off going into 6. Is that all it is a slowdown for him?
Yeah, it looks like it's a furled black flag. Or actually, no, I think it might be solid.
Yeah, I think it is solid because I see it here on ATV.
Oh yeah, it is a solid black flag.
I wonder what that's for.
Oh boy.
So that will cost Olivier Piatek a top 5. All the while up front, half a second gap between Yanni and Burkhardt. That gap is building. 3 laps to go.
Might be for Piatek. Maybe he hit the incident limit. There is one for every 20 incidents.
Well.
I didn't think he got that aggressive with it, but
well, I'll show you what aggressive with it looks like. It's Piatek's line through turn 1 if you didn't catch it in the background.
I guess he figured at this point, right? He's already got a black flag. What's the worst that can happen to him? Ooh.
Critical mistake here is not painting the car blue to blend in with the Armco.
Hide from the officials.
Yeah. So front 4 battling for the top spot here. It has not been as aggressive at the front of the field this race. Most of the battling has been mid-pack or further. A lot of attrition in this one. 26th back to 32nd all out, and more with penalties at the tail end of this one.
Yeah, I think we're far from over here. I think I said the last time as it looks like Piatek has left the server, so he's officially out of it now. Juan Chilin officially up to 5th place.
You know, maybe we should have highlighted this as a more troublesome racetrack to start your season. I know the season's long and it's going to be a bigger game of averages this year, but you don't want to start your first round with a throwaway drop, right? You don't really want to, you know, toss away a points opportunity in the first race of the season. But Watkins Glen and this particular track layout, as we've seen with NASCAR, doesn't lend itself to the be patient style of driving, does it, Finian? This is pretty all out all the time.
It is all out all the time because, you know, with the slipstream involved, if you take advantage of it to make opportunities and to catch up to competitors, and once you catch up, you might as well finish the job, make the move. As you look at Morgan Burkhardt off his rear, mirror full of Michael Yanni, he was looking to see if he can get 2 for 2 here tonight. Slight separation back to Carson Neal. Even Jake Sneddon has kind of lost the slipstream, so it's almost just about a 3-horse race left for the lead.
Yeah, a little bit of lap traffic. That is Court Schmidt up the road. That was kind of a sloppy bus stop for Yanni, wasn't it? That's going to bring Carson Neal back into the picture. But they have to make sure that they don't let Morgan just walk away. I mean, you've got an opportunity to draft by him. This is one of those draft race tracks. Probably one of the easier tracks to put a target on Burkhardt's back. We know how successful he is and how many times he's won championships in this series. But Yanni's here. Coming to the white, Finian.
Coming to the white flag. 1 more lap to go around here. And a lot less cards in the mix with only 3 cars. Burkhardt, Yanni, and Neal. Sneddon a little bit further back and no one else really close to the rest of this pack. So a little bit less for the drivers up front to consider, but still got to plan their moves out carefully, especially for Yanni if he wants to have a shot.
Yeah, build a little bit of a run up the hill here. I would have liked to have left a little bit more space to build that run. But he's going to go driver's left, maybe bring Carson Neal with him. Carson's going to do just that. Burkhardt goes to cover. Bit of a lift there by Neal. They've got a lot of time on this backstretch to build a run here, Finian. It's all about carrying momentum, carrying speed, and who's braver in the bus stop? Here comes Neal to the inside, but he's got nowhere to go.
Yeah, try to look right. Got to cut off from both of them. Yanni now looking out left. It's going to be who's braver on the brakes. They both go in at the same time.
And both of them side by side. Burkhardt, though, has driver's right. Carson Neal's going to take that opportunity to sneak to the inside of Yanni, and if they fight for second, this will be game over.
Burkhardt out a little bit wide. Here comes Neal and Yanni trying to go to the inside to cut him off. Couldn't quite get there. Neal pushed Yanni out. Here comes Neal now from 2nd place.
And watch Jake Sneddon. He could pick up a podium here by grabbing whatever leftover slices of pizza are in the fridge here at the end of this one. Burkhardt on defense into 6.
Who might go a little bit wide. Yanni trying to see if he can reel him in and then get him in the final turn. Here we go.
Last turn, turn 7. Going to be a run, but not enough. Morgan Burkhardt, oh, they're in the fence. All of them are in the fence to the checkered flag. Here comes Michael Yanni, but it's not enough. Burkhardt back in winning ways at Watkins Glen over Yanni, Neal, Sneddon, and more. Fights aren't over yet here. There's still a couple that are coming all the way to the checkers. Here comes Dylan Lee on Skip Brock in the last corner. This is for 14th spot, and this will be closer to the checkers, but I think Skip's going to have it. P14.
Yeah, not enough of a run for Lee. He'll come back home in 15th place. But at the front, Morgan Burkhardt very happy from that.
It's hard to win. is challenging to get one of these victories, and it's only gotten more and more competitive over the years here in the Full Send Sims Esports SMX Series. Multi-time champion. He'll pull the car off. Michael Yanni, though, on debut, I have to give him a lot of credit. Clean, fair racing up at the pointy end. He'll walk away here with slightly better points, probably the championship leader, finishing first and second. Burkhardt had a third and a first, so this is your points leader.
Yeah, there you go. Not too surprised from that, considering what we've seen him do in other series. And even just tonight, too, he ran a fantastic race.
Let's have a look here at the race results for race number 2. Morgan Burkhardt at the top, less than a tenth of a second back to Yanni. Then Neil Snedden and Wanshi Lin with that top 5 managed to hang on for it. That's really impressive. He had a great night.
Yeah, really solid night for Neil getting up there. Snedden, very consistent in both races. He finished second in race 1, fourth place in race 2, and then back in 5th, Wanshi Lin, fantastic climb forward from 34th to 12th in race 1, now from 12th to 5th, up 7 spots in race number 2. Hayden Manis, Ian Anderson, Trace Hands, another big climb forward from 27th to 8th in this race. James Jewell, 20th to 9th. And Andrew Wozencroft from 29th to 10th. A lot of big movers at the later part of that top 10.
Yeah, Wozy, great run there. Excellent work. Looking down the rest of the order here, Nick Yanni, Nate Himmelsbach, Sawyer Richards, Skip Rock Jr., Dylan Lee, your top 15. And this is where things started to get spicy again. Jose de las Casas, Michael Brock, they had a really good fight, though, didn't they? Both those drivers individually. And then Beans Forster, Court Schmidt, Deacon Greenfield, Olivier Piatek. Some self-induced, some unlucky. Nicholas Rice-Budo I put in that category for sure.
Yeah, and a lot of them struggling, unfortunate ends to the race, and fortunately have to look in the next couple of weeks ahead to see if they can have a chance of making up some solid points after losing out on this one.
And Camden Hibbett, tough one for Camden tonight.
Yeah,
no
on
podiums.
lap 1 of race number 2.
Yeah, it's not going to do what he wanted it to do, but I was looking to see if we had Michael Yanni in the Discord. Doesn't look like we do, but we do have some of our other front-running finishers. So we will grab them. Greg, wow. Final thoughts from you tonight on what was a pretty entertaining race 2. Maybe a little bit less chaotic than race 1, but that ending was pretty fun to watch the slicing and dicing.
It absolutely was. And I mean, how impressive is Michael Yanni? I mean, you know, obviously he's a champion in other categories, but we know how tough this is. We know what a game player, and I mean that in a positive way, Morgan Burkhardt is. And Yanni really didn't fall foul to any of that, and was able to just react beautifully, keep himself in position. Wasn't that far away at the end. He is for real, and a lot of fun there. And boy, what a way to start this season. This track is even more racy cars and some of the best drivers on the planet in Sims. That's been amazing.
Well, let's have a chat with a couple of our podium finishers tonight. Let's start with Jake Snedden, who came home in second in race 1, fourth in race 2, and I can't drag him. Finney, can you drag Jake?
Let me see if I get him.
There we go. There's Jake. Second in race 1, fourth in race number 2. Jake, congratulations. A strong start to the season. It was scrappy up there in race 1 in particular. Take us through your drive tonight and having to slice and dice with those front runners.
Oh my goodness. I mean, where do I even begin? Wasn't too great on qualifying, but I was just able to pick people off. The one thing that kind of opened it up is me and Nicholas are getting really racy into the bus stop, and we just barely smooched rear wheels. And unfortunately had a racing incident, and then it seemed like that kicked a whole crash off right after that.
Yeah, there was a real big wreck back there for sure. That got pretty messy. Cars tumbling up end over end backwards. One of the things I wanted to ask about was this hard top. Has there been any noticeable change in the way the car drives? It looks racier, like maybe a little less drag. I'm not sure if they've made any physics adjustments to this car, but it's placebo effect at the very least. What are your thoughts after driving it?
Couldn't tell if it's a placebo effect or not. I did notice that kind of caught my attention. It did seem like the pickup draft, like when you're two car lengths behind another car, it seems to be a lot stronger coming up on somebody to make a pass or to bump draft.
Interesting. Well, I appreciate your insight on that, Jake. Congratulations. A podium in one of the races and a fourth in race 2 to start the season off. We'll look forward to seeing you at Portland next week.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thanks, Jake. And let's chat now. Finino, I have to move these folks for me tonight. My dragging seems to be.
Who do you want? Who's next?
Michael Yanni. Let's do him next.
All right, here we go.
And there's Michael Yanni. Man, long time no see, Michael. After winning the Toyota GR Cup Esports Championship a few days ago, locking it up. You are on debut here, winning a race and finishing second. So you'll walk out of here the points leader. Welcome, and your thoughts on this one make championship now after a successful debut.
Yeah, a lot of fun. So I kind of got the call up today from Morgan and some of the other guys, and they're like, "You got to come drive this." And I was out really late last night and didn't sleep at all, so it was kind of rough at the start. But once I kind of got the idea, I guess, of what the car liked, and I mean, it honestly just felt like a real life race. It was so much fun. Everyone was aggressive, but that like bit of aggression with the respect that you like to see. I mean, I didn't intend on trying to go for the championship, but with a debut like that, I guess I can give it a shot, you know? So let's see how it goes.
Yeah, certainly a strong debut here. Watkins Glen, though, this is a track with big commitment, big curbs. You're kind of throwing the car around. It looks to me, someone who doesn't race a ton in iRacing and who loves Watkins Glen, that you guys are out of control through that bus stop. How much margin is there really when you go in there side by side, banging off the curbs like that?
Not a lot. I think when I went too wide with Morgan, there was more of how do I make the corner as opposed to trying to pass him. I'm glad, let's say, that the debut round is Watkins because it gave me a chance to figure out the balance of the car. I think if it was a more technical track and I were to jump in, it'd be really difficult. So I do think that going forward, some of these other tracks like Mid-Ohio, etc., it's going to be like on the ragged edge of grip pretty much the whole lap to get pace. So be good fun.
Michael Yanni, first in race 1, second in race 2. Michael, thanks so much. We'll see you next time.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. And Finney, let's have a chat now with Carson Neal, who finished in third in race number 2. And Carson, fifth in race 1, third in race 2, pick up a podium, the first race of the season. We've just been talking about how wild tonight was from basically every angle at Watkins Glen. Your thoughts and your opinions after this first event. Pretty wild and a good start. Whoop, we lost him, Finney.
Oh.
There you go.
Hey, I should be back.
Hey, Carson, you have us now?
Yeah, I got you.
I'm not sure if you heard my question, but I'll rephrase it. Pretty successful, strong debut here, fifth and third. How wild was it out there? It looked pretty hands-on and physical.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. Never driven something like this. Been running the Spec Miata League, but there's nothing like this. It was neck and neck every lap. You got to be perfect every time.
You know, the aggression level, we talked about it a little bit with Michael Yanni about how much margin there was up there, but it seems like the bus stop was a really great opportunity to put someone offline. Were there any other places around the track that you felt like, drivers were leaving some time on the table, or was it just that run up to the bus stop that you were targeting every lap?
I think turn 1, I think if I could do a couple more laps, I could have gotten a little bit more confident through turn 1, but I think the bus stop's a really good place to do it.
Gotcha. With Portland next week, we've never been there with this league, or at least not with the SMX stuff. Thoughts on that? Have you done any laps there yet?
I actually haven't done any laps around it, but I've done a few laps on Forza on it, but it's really fun.
All right, Carson Neal. We'll see you at Portland next week. Good luck to you. Congratulations on a podium tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you. And let's bring in Morgan Burkhardt now, race winner of race 2. Race 1, Morgan, battle with your teammate, sort of got a little over spicy and ended up finishing P3, but race 2, a little bit less chaotic at the front, and you were able to hold off Michael Yanni, who won his first race on debut. So you've got another couple people, Jake Snedden, Carson Neal up there, really giving you a run for your money. The aggression level was very high tonight. Take us through your perspective of the evening and how it's changed since last season.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the most important thing for me and the thing that's really cool for me to see is we got a lot of new faces up front. Like you said, we got Carson and Jake, and that's really cool to see a bit of new blood up front. I think it's fun to watch how that develops. And tonight was kind of like an experiment. Never really raced them before. Figured out on the fly. So it was a lot of fun to kind of mess around with that. And yeah, the aggression was really high tonight. And Camden and I have talked, and it's not like we don't go points racing. We just go racing. So there's no holes barred. It's go for it when you want it. And we both know that we're going to give each other space. And that incident in the final corner in race 1, there's just there's a couple of the hitboxes in iRacing around the wheels where if you touch them just right, it'll glue the cars together. And that's what happened there. And it's unfortunate, but it's part of it. And I'm just glad it didn't take either of us out, and we were able to finish well. And happy that Michael showed up being a 10K driver and a pro license. So that was fun to spice things up with him.
I love the term "we're going racing." That's my new favorite term. Is it just placebo that this car looks like it races a little different with this hardtop, or is there actually a physics change to it? It looks a little different, just from a spectator's view of how these cars race, but you'd know better than I.
It does drive a little bit different. So it's not much. I wouldn't say there's a physics change, but it does go better in a straight line now. So it's definitely got a lot more top end. Like even out of a draft here, we're almost getting into 6th gear, which almost never happens other than Daytona. So we're going a lot harder into the corner, extends the braking zone a little bit more, which then facilitates racing. Doesn't draft quite as well, but it still does draft a lot, which is really nice. And like I said, the brake zones are so much longer. You can make something happen under the brakes, whereas before you had to be really close to make it happen, which isn't the case anymore. So it races a little bit different, but it doesn't necessarily drive a little different. I mean, like I said, brake zones are longer, so you have to account for that. Corners like the final corner here, where it was just a brush on the brakes before, not so much anymore. You do actually have to slow down a little bit more for it. So it changes it a little bit, but it's a lot of fun, and I personally love the look of the hardtop.
Greg, do you have something for Morgan? I saw you unmuted.
I was just perfect timing on that with my earlier comments about liking the convertible. But as I said, the more these races went on, the more I liked how these hardtop look because they race so well. One of the guys earlier said that he thought that when you get within a couple of car lengths, you could really feel a sudden little bit of a surge. Did you sense that? And the other part of it that I love is, this is one of those rare examples where making a car faster by expanding the brake zones, which a lot of people don't think about, actually makes the racing more intense.
Yeah, no, exactly. And the draft definitely with the open top, you have a lot longer, I'll call it draft zone of area where the pocket of air hasn't closed yet. But it's a lot more sleek in the air with the hardtop on, so that pocket is a lot smaller. So if you really want to get a good draft, you got to be right on the bumper of the guy in front of you. And yeah, I mean, the brake zones being longer, you kind of had to race it a little bit different, and I used that to my advantage in the final race. Like right here, trying to keep Michael right on my bumper so that he can't do anything, coming down the back straight and really just forcing him to stay exactly where I want him, and then making Carson go for a move, and that boxes him in. Little things like that where you couldn't do it as easily because the brake zone wasn't as long. You didn't have much time to do it before. Now you can really manipulate where people are if you're leading a pack based on where you brake.
Kyle, you caught that moment perfectly because you said, "Ooh, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of a gap." And I remember that call in that moment, and it was absolutely spot on. And now we know it's because Morgan could play with the brake zone a little bit. That is so cool, man.
Never underestimate Morgan's ability to drive other people's cars from in front of them. It's pretty amazing. Morgan, congratulations. Job well done. I think you'll probably be P2 coming out of here with Michael's first and second. So congratulations. We'll see you at Portland next week.
Yep. Can't wait for it. See you guys.
Thanks, Morgan. All right. Finian, if you wouldn't mind. I don't have I can't drag tonight. There we go. Well, look, this was a blast. I always look forward to the full SimSims SMX series, but it seems like it's turned up to 11, kicking things off here. Finian, final thoughts. Greg, I'll come to you after that, and we'll wrap things up here.
Some more fantastic action from the series. Glad to be back with these guys. Always glad to fill in, because just get to witness some fantastic racing in action with a fantastic group of drivers that, as hard as they will fight, they will still be very respectful towards one another, and it's obvious out there on the racetrack. So excellent racing all in all throughout the entirety of the field, really, not even just near the front. So glad to be here, especially at Watkins Glen.
Greg?
Yeah, I second that completely. Again, just from what we're seeing here, this should be a spectacular season. I love, as Morgan mentioned as well, those fresh faces up in the top 10, although having Carson Neal and Michael Yanni together, and now I've got Neil Yanni in my head, and now I'm all messed up. But nonetheless, it's going to be absolutely phenomenal racing, and can't wait for it. And Finian, great job filling in, great job on those cameras again. You're just an incredible part of the team, and thanks for being there for me, man. Kyle, thanks so much. Can't wait for next Tuesday to get here quick enough.
Well, Portland, it's coming up next week, round 2 of the Full Send Sims SMX Series. Big thanks to the partners and people that make it all happen. Full Send Sims, 3P Logistics Track Services, Final Turn Motorsports, Wine Country Motorsports, Sawbelt, and Farah. We'll see you next week on the other coast in Portland.